Welcome. Today we're going to learn how to tie a little stonefly pattern called the nasty little man. This is a little Euro pattern I like to tie when I really need to get down quickly. So let's get started. We'll start off with a size 10 jig hook. This one's an MFC 7220, and we'll accompany that with a 4.6 millimeter slotted bead. And to start and further secure that bead into place, I like to use a lead-free wire. This one's .020. And I'm just going to go with about 6 wraps just behind the bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll just helicopter off our tag ends here. You notice when I pull the last tag end off, I put a little pressure with my index finger on the wraps to prevent them from, curly cueing off the shank of the hook and causing a mess. From there, we'll just kind of slide these lead wraps right into our bead here. And this size of bead has the ability, has the space rather, to seat quite a few of these wraps in there. So you can feel free to make this fly as heavy as you'd like. From there, I'm going to go ahead and start with a black thread. I'll have the size and description of all these materials in the notes, so you don't have to take out a notebook for now. Anyway, black thread. We're going to start just behind the wire wraps. Clip your tag in there. From here, I'm just going to advance my thread to the back of the shank, right about there. And we're going to add some goose biots. This tail is stripped gone. Get a fresh one. Oh, there we go. So we're going to use a stripped black goose biot. And we're just going to clip off 2 of these fibers here. Once I have my 2 fibers selected, what I'm going to do to make sure that they flare apart from one another on the back of the fly, so I'm going to take one of these pieces, and I'm going to flip it around. So this way you can see the feathers curve away from one another, right? This will create that nice little flare. And what that looks like is the convex parts of the feather are pushing up against each other. It creates that little flare. And when I add these onto my fly, I'm going to measure them against the shank of the fly here. And I want them to extend beyond the fly about the length of the shank. So where my lead wire stops, or my bead stops rather, and my thread stops here is the length I want these to be. So once I've determined that, I will make the transfer off to my left hand. And when I tie in biots, this is going to be one of the most frustrating parts of fly tying, is learning how to tie in biots. When I tie them in, I have the gap of the fibers pointing straight at my nose. And so that way the fibers are slightly on the near side of the shank. Whenever I pull my thread over and start to apply downward pressure here, it kind of starts to roll those fibers on top of the shank. And you see they kind of flared out and create this nice little V shape on either end. And that's your properly tied in biots. Like I said, it can be a bit of a frustrating process, so it could take a few tries, a little bit of practice. Once you get them in though, it's like one of the best feelings ever to lock those in perfectly. I'll capture my little butt sections there all the way up the shank with my thread. You might have a little excess, and I'll just clip that with the scissors. From here, I'm just going to add in the body of the fly, which this is a vinyl rib. This one is midge sized. You can choose whatever color you want. I'll go with black, just because it's the easiest for me to mess with. But if you live in an area where you have golden stones or what have you, feel free to mess with the color a little bit. You'll see with this vinyl rib, it does have a flat side. I tie the flat side of the vinyl rib up against the fly here. I want that rounded edge to really point out. Creates a nice segmentation style body. There, take my thread all the way back, advance it back to where I want it to stop. And I'm just going to advance this vinyl rib forward. You don't really have to stretch this stuff out. I like to kind of give it like minimal pressure without, you know, sacrificing the integrity of the fly. So feel free to, you know, pull on a little bit, but not so much where it's stretching out the material and really thinning it out. From here, we'll just capture with our thread, give it 2 or 3, clip our butt section. I'll just give it a few reinforcement wraps. We're not really worried about creating extra bulk here because it's a pretty low profile fly as is. From here, here's what we're going to do. We're going to add one of my favorite features of the fly, and this is going to be rubber legs. So I like a black and white barred rubber leg. You can use whatever color you want. This is pretty cool though. So I'll get one that's about the length of my finger here, or a little section of it. I'll fold it in half. There, and clip. So once I have my 2 little sections there, I'm just going to put them up against my thread. Well, put them on the wrong side. Camera's got me confused. I'm gonna put them on the near side of the thread here, pull them over the fly. I'll just let the thread of the weight of my bobbin here allow me to kind of wiggle these legs into place. Pull that one there, and this one here. I'll give it another nice, kind of a looser wrap, 1 or 2 of those. And if you see what that looks like, it creates a nice little X of your legs there. From here, we're going to go ahead and finish out this fly with a little bit of dubbing. I like UV ice dubbing. Whichever color that you prefer is the way to go. We're going to go with a black peacock UV ice dubbing. Make a nice little noodle. And you know, the great thing about working with size 10 hooks is that we don't have to be as stingy with our dubbing. We can really pile this stuff on, makes it a little easier. As you dub, you may find that your legs kind of get out of whack some. That's okay. Just adjust as you go. Don't let it get too far and then your legs are stuck in place forever. Put on a little bit more here, and I'll just go in front of our legs. Again, make sure they're not getting pushed askew. Once you've got your little bit of dubbing in there, we're just going to go ahead and hit it with a little whip finish. Clip your tag end, and these legs are a little crazy long, so I'll just go ahead and snip them in the back. I like them to be fairly equal, so clip them in the front too. You see, got your nice little X shape there with the legs, and you have your nice beautifully flared biot tails. That's the nasty little man, one of my favorite stonefly patterns that there is. You can fish these all year round. Super durable, super effective, and really easy to tie. So have fun tying them and have fun fishing them. Thanks for stopping in.